Good morning and welcome to the Delco Show. This is Fiore, Executive Director of Delaware County's Brandywine Conference and Visitors Bureau, and you are listening to the Delco Show on iRadio Philly. The Delco Show is brought to you by the Delaware County Chamber of Commerce. And folks, just a quick heads up, the Brandywine Conference and Visitors Bureau, we just put out our winter blog that talks about all the wonderful things to do in Delaware County and the surrounding area. So if you just go to brandywinecvb.org, you'll be able to click on the winter blog. It's got a great picture of a snowman with a little kid kissing it. I think it's our Vice President of Marketing's nephew, so she always gets a kid in there. So please take a peek at that. And one more thing before we get started with the Junior Achievement is Primo Hoagies. Primo Hoagies of Delaware County, Baltimore Avenue in Media, PA, right there on the main drag, 610-565-7000, primohoagies.com. And Stephen E. Kessler, the second, who was our technical wizard here from Painless Technology. We have today, I think, our standard Italian, and we've got the guys at Primo's just giving us a surprise every week. We don't know. And we've got a regular turkey hoagie, and then we've got the Big T. The Big T is the Thuman's turkey breast and provolone cheese and imported ham. And you know what? That may be it today. And we'll split the Italian hoagie, and I'll take that home for dinner tonight. My wife is on her own.
You had me at provolone.
Why? That sounds like another bad movie. You had me at hello. Okay, on with the show. We have a gentleman from Junior Achievement of Delaware, of the Delaware Valley, Paul Kappel Jr., who is the president of Junior Achievement of Delaware Valley. Paul, good morning and welcome to the Delco Show.
Good morning, Tori. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, always a pleasure. And Paul did bring two delightful young ladies with him today who are observing this and taking photos of us. We have Ashley and Anna, who are involved with Junior Achievement also. Ashley, I believe, is a 2-day-old newcomer, and Anna has been around since October. So compared to Ashley, Paul, she's a veteran, huh?
She is a veteran, absolutely.
So welcome to the Delco Show, ladies. You're allowed to talk.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, they didn't think I was going to do that, did they, Paul?
No, they did not. They thought you were kidding.
Look, there's a lot of things I don't know what I'm going to do, Paul, so, stay with us here. Junior Achievement, we got Junior this, we got Junior that, all these different programs and everything. The one thing I do remember that has been around for quite a while is Junior Achievement. What is the basic mission? What is Junior Achievement, I guess, in essence?
Well, we are the world's largest economic education organization. Here in the Philadelphia region, in Delaware County in particular, we do programs around economic education, financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and work readiness really are our key tenets. And we do that with volunteers from the community who work with schools and give them, in a sense, the economics of life. So everything from how to own your financial future to how to start a business to how to go out and find a job, really at the end of the day, how to be an active member of our community.
See, and that's interesting because when you look at the various other organizations, and there's a handful that we can name, but the one that I will name that have certain niches, if you will, that do a great job in their area is 4-H. They do a wonderful job. We had a young lady in here a few weeks ago doing some 4-H stuff, and it talks about all the stuff they do. That's the niche that they found. There's other niches for, you can learn SATs better. You can do this better. You can do that, all that stuff. But you guys found an interesting niche.
Absolutely.
Finance. Economics.
And it's interesting that you bring up 4-H because if you look at the history of Junior Achievement, when we were founded in 1919, and one of our founders was actually the head of AT&T at the time, Theodore Vail, and we were often compared to 4-H because we were an organization. The country was making a transition from an agricultural economy to an industrial economy.
Yeah.
And how were young people, similar to 4-H, going to have the skills that they needed to thrive in this new economy? And that's how Junior Achievement was founded, and we're approaching our 100-year anniversary, and still going strong to this day.
Yeah. So you found it interesting that I brought up 4-H. What am I, just a pretty face? You don't think I know stuff?
Tori, there's a joke in there somewhere about a face for radio, but I'll let that go.
That was just a shot in the dark, because I mean it's a really good program. But you're right. You were into the Industrial Revolution and everything like that and whatnot, and it was a big changeover and everything. But now you're K to 12, okay? So you're dealing with 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, and 18-year-olds. You're not telling me you're teaching 6-year-olds how to balance a checkbook.
No, absolutely not. So when you think about it, so if you look at some of our elementary programs, so you may be a JA volunteer and you go in and work with a group of first graders. And one of the lessons that we work with is needs versus wants. So you think about needs versus wants. So how do you talk to, a first grader about that? Well, you talk about things like, is a house a need or a want? Is food a need or a want? Is a game system a need or a want? As you can imagine, depends on the child that you're asking.
Sure.
And you do this through hands-on activities, flashcards, engaging students in a dialogue that they understand, and they come out at the end of that lesson understanding the difference between a need versus a want. But think about that. Needs versus wants is the basic decision that you make when you're building a budget. Do I need this? Do I want it? Needs versus wants is one of the fundamental economic decisions that all of us make every day, whether it's what we buy at the grocery store, how we balance our checkbook, or how we run a multi-million-dollar business. And yet this is a concept that you can teach a first grader. So it's about building blocks. Boy,
I've got needs and wants that don't even conflict. I mean, I need and I want something at the same time. How the hell do you handle that one? And I can't even talk about that.
It's a different show.
Even though it's internet radio. My wife, who was a school teacher for 34 years, and home economics, okay? I don't know how she got through 34 years. She was a great seamstress, can't cook worth a lick. I do all the, but anyway, going back a bunch of years ago, they were doing something like that, teaching students, and she had high school kids, how to do basic balancing of a checkbook and everything. Now, that's what I also found fascinating, because here's a woman who has a master's degree. She has her degree in textiles and then a master's degree, because you had to do continuing education or anything. We've had separate checking accounts for 30 years because I look at what she does and I don't understand it. I can't get it. I can't figure it out. And I'm going, you're on your own. And she's teaching kids how to balance a checkbook. And I'm going, oh, these poor kids. But you've got educated, executive type people that come in and work with these students, correct?
Absolutely. And that really is one of the key tenets of the JA program, is that it's that volunteer, but the key point is a prepared volunteer. So Junior Achievement provides all the materials. So whether you're going in and spending 5 hours with a first grade classroom, or as many as 50 hours working with high school students on how to start their own business, we provide all the materials necessary to do that. And we provide an orientation for all of our volunteers as well. So to your point, whether you're a business executive or whether you're just a stay-at-home parent that is looking for a way to get involved in their kindergartner's classroom, JA has materials to help you make that happen.
Okay. Now, again, you're talking about volunteers, but do you also have teachers, or is it teachers and volunteers the same thing?
Nope. So if you think of a traditional classroom in which you have a teacher, the volunteer comes in and works in partnership with that teacher to deliver JA programs.
Got it. Okay, so it's kind of like the assistant parent and stuff like that and everything.
Think a guest speaker that comes in with a very specific curriculum over a sustained amount of time, whether that's a one-day program or for multiple weeks. That volunteer comes in as a member of the community and really brings these activities alive for the students.
Okay. Now, having said that you're dealing with individual volunteers and everything, do you get involved with the business community as well, which is an important part if you're talking finance and entrepreneurship and things of that nature?
Absolutely. So, for example, in Delaware County, one of our best partners is Wawa, who has worked with Junior Achievement for well over 10 years to provide both financial assistance, but then also volunteers. And so traditionally what you'll have is groups of volunteers that will come from a corporation and be involved with an entire grade, or in many cases even an entire school, to bring the JA program into that community.
Okay. Now, again, you are a 5-county organization, and we in the tourism industry would call that Philadelphia and the countryside. So it's Philadelphia, Bucks, Montgomery, Chester, and Delaware County. Okay, you're located in Wayne, so you're in Chester County, but it's that cusp, Montgomery County, Delaware County. So, once you figure out who exactly you are, you'll be fine, right? But nevertheless, though, you work with a lot of schools, don't you?
Absolutely. And so this school year, that'll be about 20,000 students that will participate in a junior achievement program.
Now, is this an after-school program or in-school program? How does that work?
Actually, both. The majority of our programs right now are in school, but we also have after-school partners as well, particularly with our high school programs where students learn about how to start a business in an after-school environment with a variety of corporate partners around the region.
Okay. Yeah, I keep on looking. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I check news and everything. Then I check MSN, and I look at these things where you see sometimes 10 kids under 20 who are billionaires. It's like, yeah, okay, how do you do that? And I'm thinking now all of a sudden, did they go to junior achievement? It's just, it fascinates me to see that. So there is that thing where kids, this is a totally different, I'm going to say I'm generations removed from this, but my God, they think differently, don't they?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So if you look at how we approach that, we have a variety of high school students that sign up for our entrepreneurship program. Some of them because they have a true interest in starting their own business. Mm-hmm. And starting your own business is so much different from, even to your point, how it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. You see young people now.
A little longer than that, Paul.
Well, you see young people now.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on. Ladies, what are you laughing at? Did I just see a smirk over there?
You see young people now. If you have an internet connection, you can start your own business. And so what we need to do as an educational organization is not just teach young people how to succeed in the existing business environment, but also teach them the 21st century skills that are going to teach them to be successful in jobs that you and I can't even imagine right now.
Let me, and here's a perfect example of it, okay? 45 years ago, yeah, that's about right, 55, 70, yeah, that'll 40, yeah, that's close enough, okay? I had 3 buddies in high school that came right out of high school. They opened up body shops, mechanic shops. That's what they did. They worked on cars. Now today, they're looking to open up an internet business.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's mind-boggling. It's just absolutely mind-boggling, the tools that are at their hands these days.
Well, and if you look at some of our education partners, and particularly why they're interested in partnering with JA, is oftentimes students have the skills and are taught the skills. You particularly see this in the STEM field, science, technology, engineering, and math.
Yeah.
They get the skills that they need through their education. But what they're missing is the skills they need to then keep those jobs. Think about really what makes you successful in the world of work.
Yeah.
It's the collaborating, communicating, sharing your ideas. There's this myth out there that even within the internet age, that most of the great technology advances happen because somebody was sitting in their garage and make something happen. And yet when you look at it, most of the great advancements happen because of teamwork and collaboration. And really young people don't have an opportunity to do that as much as they should. And all of a sudden they're thrown in the world of work and it's just magically expected to happen.
Yeah, it's kind of like I do a lot of speaking. I go into universities, colleges, and I talk to their public speaking, their communications classes, and I talk to them about public speaking. You're going to have to do it one day, so you better learn how to do it and do it well, because it ain't all looking at your phone or an iPad. You're going to have to look at people. It may be as simple as you're the president of a bowling league, but you're going to have to talk to people. and you better get it right. And speaking of get it right, we're going to try to get it right for Stephen E. Kessner II and get out of here for the first segment on time for a change. So he gave me the signal to get out of here. You are listening to the Delco Show right here on iRadio Philly. We're speaking with Paul Kappel, who's the president of Junior Achievement of Delaware Valley. Ladies and gentlemen, the Delco Show is brought to you by the Delaware County Chamber of Commerce. I'm Tori Fiore, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Delco Show, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tori Fiore. You're listening to the Delco Show on iRadio Philly. The Delco Show is brought to you by the Delaware County Chamber of Commerce. I was remiss in the first part of the show, ladies and gentlemen. We're speaking with Paul Kappel, Jr., who's the president of Junior Achievement of Delaware Valley. You can find out more about Junior Achievement by going to their website, philadelphia.ja.org. Now, Paul, can I use the main line as the direct line to call there?
Absolutely.
And the main number there is 610-499-1620. Again, the website is philadelphia.ja.org. Okay, we got that in. Okay, we got in the fact that we're going to thank Primo Hoagies again because we're almost ready, 15 minutes to go, and I'm drooling here for those sandwiches, so we're going to take it from there. Paul, I want to get back to the schools that you work with. Okay, now I know you work with Delaware County schools, and they run the gamut from elementary schools, community charter schools, and then your middle schools and everything, like Northley Middle School, which is in Aston. Okay, we work with them. They do a career day every year, I think sometime in May, and we take 15 to 20 of their kids from middle school out to places because they're interested in getting into the hospitality business. So we've taken them to interesting places like the racetrack. Okay, and took them to the stables and everything and showed them what the life is of a racetrack. Come on, let's make it interesting,
Absolutely,
okay?
absolutely.
The kids had to play. We took them to the Sun Center Studios, which makes movies. So we take them to places like that, and I figured that out from the first time we did it. We took them to a corporate event center, and they looked at a bunch of empty square box buildings that, oh yeah, events are done here. And then we took them to the airport, which was an absolute blast. One of the few times they got to go up to where the tower controls and everything were. I mean, that was fascinating for these kids. I can remember as a kid, when it was okay, we used to do that as fun on a Sunday afternoon with our parents. Go up there and hang out, get an ice cream. I mean, we really did. I mean, you get near that now, you'll get arrested, okay? So anyway, but getting back to the schools in Delaware County, but you've also got a good grouping of high schools here. Springfield, Pencrest, Haverford, Radnor. So you've got the high schools, and I like to deal with that a little. I can wrap my head around understanding the entrepreneurship and the economics from high schools, okay? How does that work with the high schools as far as getting these kids involved with the business community?
So we run two basic programs, both built around entrepreneurship with our high school partners. So, for example, at Sun Valley High School, we have volunteers from 3M who actually go in and teach a program specifically about entrepreneurship and really kind of the skills on what it takes to be an entrepreneur. So it's a classroom-based program working in partnership with the teacher. JA provides the materials, provides the training for that to happen, and the volunteer will tend to spend about 6 weeks, once a week, partnering with that school. But the majority of our high school programs are actually in partnership with various businesses across the region. So, for example, in Delaware County, we have very strong programs supported by both Aqua America and SAP, where students from a wide variety of high schools, including the high schools you mentioned within Delaware County, they actually go on to that corporate campus once a week for about 15 weeks, going from November to the end of March. And they basically learn everything that you need to know to run your own business. So everything from coming up with the idea to raising capital, selling your product, hopefully making a return on investment to your shareholders. They learn it all, and they do it in partnership with those corporate volunteers.
It sounds like one of two things to me. It sounds like either that TV show, I think, called The Apprentice, okay, okay, or I want to buy your business or whatever the heck that is. but it really sounds more like it's almost like a high school internship.
It's exactly like a high school internship. In fact, more and more we're having school partners that are starting to give students actually academic credit, because a lot of high schools require some sort of internship or community engagement opportunity as a requirement for graduation. And so what they have done is they've taken a look at the J8 program and found that in some ways it's actually more rigorous than what was being provided before, and then actually gives those students an opportunity to really get a leg up, for lack of a better word, in terms of the world of work, and hopefully enhance their potential moving forward.
Well, I know I've worked with a lot of colleges, in fact, getting young adults internships and everything, and I made it a point to explain to the companies I deal with, because I've seen internships. I've been around since Brooklyn was a prairie. I mean, I've seen this happen, where they do nothing but just go get coffee and file papers, and that's not an internship. You've got a glorified gopher is what you're dealing with. So these kids want to work. They got to work. You got to teach them stuff. They got to write reports on this. So that's almost better than.
Oh, absolutely, because these students, in a sense, are running their own companies, and those volunteers really turn into consultants to guide them along. But at the end of the day, the decisions are made by the students. Everything from working with real vendors, working with real money, opening up bank accounts with our banking partner, Bank of America, working with what are the rules and regulations to sell a product in particular communities, actually, in a sense, paying sales tax on what they earn. So they understand the ins and outs of what they need to do to both run a business, but at the same time, not every student in this program aspires to go start their own company.
Sure.
So a lot of students look at it as, what are the skills that I need to make it in the world of work? And when you think about what an entrepreneur does, they create value, they take appropriate risk, they collaborate, they communicate, they have passion for what they do. Those are skills that any employer wants. Yeah. So students come out of this program just because they know that it's going to make them a better member of their community. It's going to maybe get them in a better position for college, or better position for that job, whatever it may be moving forward.
Well, it's global. I know I've got nieces and nephews, and it's fascinating that they're not thinking their neighborhood, and where we used to think our neighborhood or the region maybe. I mean, I've got nieces and nephews that, they're in Germany, they're in China, they're in Afghanistan working with whomever there. They're looking, and they know 3 or 4 different languages. We know a lot about the slackers and everything, but sometimes we don't give enough credit to these other kids that you look and you go, oh my God, look what these kids are doing today. And it's fascinating to see that, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know that sometimes there's a concern, do students, where do they get the opportunities to collaborate and communicate? And we're all concerned that they don't have an opportunity to just sit down face to face and have dialogues.
Yeah.
And we're excited because this program provides both. It provides them for the opportunity to really work in a very unique and immersive business environment. And yet at the same time, at the end of the day, if they're going to sell their product, the best way to do that is sit down face-to-face somebody and to convince them to make that investment. So they really get the best of both worlds.
So you don't, again, I'm going to make an educated, I'm going to change that, because I was going to say I was going to make an educated guess and think that, but let me do it another way. Do you work strictly only with groups and schools, or will you actually do one-on-one?
Well, what's great about this after-school program that I'm describing is students can sign up as individuals. And that's really unique within the JA universe, to your point, in that most of our programs happen within a structured environment.
Got it. Okay, good.
But with this program, any young person that's in high school can sign up for this program and participate and get this valuable entrepreneurial experience.
So so you don't have to be given the blessing of the school to do it. You just it's like an after school club.
Yep.
You want to belong to a club, you're in a club.
You're a sports team. I mean, we have an application process, and all students have to do that application. They have to do an essay, and they also have to receive a recommendation from a teacher, a employer, because it's serious. Because just like any other team that you're on, those other team members rely on you, and once you make that commitment, they're going to rely on you to be there every week. And so you see students who, it always amazes me in some cases the efforts that they take to get to this program. We have students who get on a bus, have a carpool, parents that may leave work early just so their students can participate in this program.
No kidding. Now, so how do you get involved? How do you volunteer? How does this work?
So as you mentioned, you gave out our phone number, you gave out our website.
Let me do that again. Thank you for reminding me. I knew, because I was going to get yelled at, wasn't I? Ladies and gentlemen, we're speaking with Paul Kappel Jr., who's the president of Junior Achievement of Delaware Valley. The website is philadelphia.ja.org, or you can give a call to the main number, 610-499-1620. Either way, you can find out more about Junior Achievement, what it's all about, and how to volunteer your time, services, either as an individual or as a business/corporation. So let me get back to that. How do you get involved?
So how do you get involved? Well, there's really three ways. Our biggest barrier to growth is volunteers. We have schools and community partners that request this program every year that we just don't have enough volunteers to support them. And so volunteers really in the long term are our greatest need. Secondly, of course, just like any other organization, the financial resources, and whether you're an individual that wants to make a $10 contribution to Junior Achievement, or some of our larger corporate partners that, as you can imagine, provide significant gifts to JA, everything in between we have, including participation in both our golf event, which happens every May, and a black tie fundraising dinner that happens every November.
Tell me about the golf tournament real quick.
We have a golf tournament. This year it will be May 4th, 2015. It's at the Bluebell Country Club. And you can contact our office for information on foursomes and sponsorships.
Bull, I have your phone number. I'll call you direct, all right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Speaking of events, I want to get this in, okay? We have May 4th Bluebell for your golf outing, Bluebell Country Club. But you have two things that are coming up. One in April is the Financial Literacy Month. Okay. Financial literacy. Is that like pay to play? I don't know.
So financial literacy, when you think about the best way to be an active member of our society is to control your economic future. And we see stories every day of people who make poor decisions because they just don't manage their finances very well. So Financial Literacy Month is something to draw focus, not just for young people, but also adults. And how can you get the information, the education you need to take control of your financial future? And again, the example that I gave before on needs versus wants for kindergartners, but middle school, very specific, teaching students about savings, investing, budgeting, how to balance a checkbook, how to write a check, the use of credit, when you should not use credit.
Right.
All of those pieces are very vital for us to make sure we have a vibrant and healthy economy.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely. I can tell you stories. So you've probably heard a few yourself, I'm sure. What's the other thing? Is you got some digital stuff online going on, the entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we're very excited about is as I mentioned, the JA Company program, our signature entrepreneurship program. We're transitioning that to a blended learning concept that also has digital delivery as well. Because just at the same time that I told about young people who go to these great lengths to participate in our program, we know there are students that want to participate that can't take that bus, cannot get to wherever our programs currently exist. So over the next few years, we'll launch digital learning opportunities as well that will provide tremendously more resources, not just for our young people to participate, but also volunteers and parents as well in terms of these basic life skills around financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship that we know our students need.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that. We got 2 minutes left. I want to ask two quick questions here. Do you have Junior Achievement alumni that give back?
Absolutely.
I don't mean
Absolutely.
financially, but that they come back and teach.
Absolutely. In fact, we are just starting a campaign this month. We just started a campaign in January relative to junior achievement alumni. And they're out there and they're looking for opportunities to get involved and share their experiences, just like in the past a mentor did with them. And that alumni base grows literally every day.
Last but not least, Reader's Digest version. I want to donate to junior achievement. How do I do it?
Go to our website and click on the Donate Now button.
That website again, folks, is philadelphia.ja.org, or you can call 610-499-1620. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking to Paul Kappel, Jr., who's the president of Junior Achievement of Delaware Valley. Paul, thank you very much for being with us today on the Delco Show. Very informative, a great organization, kids learning how to use their money smartly, if you will. So thank you for being with us.
Tori, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure to see you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to The Delco Show. I'm Tori Fiore. The Delco Show is brought to you by the Delaware County Chamber of Commerce and can be heard here, right here, on iRadio Philly. Have a good day.